Hey, how's it going, Luis? My name is Byron. I believe I spoke to you earlier today about sending this video to your email address. I work with companies throughout the United States. I help companies improve their online presence. As you know, having an online presence in 2023 is very important for a business. In fact, it's very critical. So I wanted to give you some tips and tricks on some things you can do to improve your company's online presence. We're in a digital age now. What I mean by digital age is that most businesses are promoting and advertising themselves on the internet now. So with that being said, let me show you a few different ways that you can take advantage of this moment in time and improve your company's online presence. So when your future customers are looking for turfing services within the greater Houston area, chances are they're going to go into Google and they're going to use these particular key phrases in order to find that specific service. So they're going to use this particular key phrase, which is artificial turf installation. They're going to hit search. And the first thing that most people typically see when the page opens is something called the Google Ads section. This right here is called the Google Ads section. And believe it or not, a lot of businesses, and I mean a lot of businesses, are coming into Google now and they're paying to have these ads put up here. The beauty of this section is that the only time you're ever charged is when someone clicks on this link right here or clicks on this headline. If no one clicks on this link or headline, then this company will not be charged for running ads. Right below the ads section is called the Google Maps section. This is what this section is called. Right below the Google Maps section is called the SEO or organic section. And these are the three main ways that most businesses are bringing in customers now. The whole goal is to see how do we get you into one of these top couple of ad spots here. Once again, the whole goal is to see how do we get you into one of these top couple of ad spots here. And we can do that by providing you with a really good landing page that will convert traffic into phone calls, form submissions, or a combination of the two. There's a few different tools that we typically like to use in order to start this process of getting you into one of these top couple of ad spots. And the first tool that I want to talk to you about is called Google Keyword Planner. And Google Keyword Planner is where we go to see how much volume a certain keyword is generating per month. Another cool thing about Google Keyword Planner is that it allows us to see some of the other particular key phrases that people in the greater Houston area are going into Google and using in order to find turfing services or turfing companies. So these are some of the other particular key phrases that people tend to use when they're trying to find a turfing company. But for right now, I want to focus in on this particular key phrase, which is artificial turf installation. So artificial turf installation in the greater Houston area. I say greater Houston area because I'm also targeting the surrounding cities such as Spring, Katy, Sugar Land, Pearland, Pasadena, and so on. So in the greater Houston area, artificial turf installation is generating between 100 to 1,000 searches per month. What this typically means is that about 100 to 1,000 people are searching for this particular keyword per month. And the cost per click is about $5.27. What this cost per click typically means is that whenever someone puts this particular key phrase into Google and they come across an ad and they click on that ad, then the company who's running that ad will be charged exactly $5.27 each time it's clicked on. So for an example, you see how I already just put this particular key phrase in here and these ads popped up? If I were to click on this ad right now that's being ran by Houston Fake Grass, then Houston Fake Grass will be charged exactly $5.27 each time I click on this ad. Keep in mind that a decent conversion rate for paid ads is about 10%. Once again, keep in mind that a decent conversion rate for paid ads is about 10%. What that means is that about 10% of the people that click on your ad are actually giving you a phone call or they're filling out forms on your landing page. So if you were running an ad right now for artificial turf installation and you had a good conversion rate, which is about 10%, you'll be paying about $52.70 just to land a artificial turf installation job, which is pretty lucrative, right? Because as you know, an artificial turf installation job is a couple thousands of dollars in revenue, right? So just paying $52.70 for that lead is very lucrative. Another cool tool I like to use is called SpyFu. And what SpyFu does is it allows us to spy on our competition. The only thing you have to do is put your competition's URL in. This is called a URL. You hit search. And what that does is it brings up your opponent's stats. So these are the stats of your opponent's ad campaign. As you can see, your opponent is paying for 10 keywords per month. You're getting 18 clicks per month on their ad. So 18 times their ad is being clicked on per month. And their ad budget is about $50.60. So this right here is the amount that they're paying just to run these ads. This number is way too low. This number should be way higher because the higher it is, the more clicks you get, and the more clicks you get, the more revenue you're tend to gain, or the more revenue you're going to bring in if this number is higher. Another cool thing about this tool is that it allows us to see some of the other particular companies within the greater Houston area who's also running ads. So these are some of the other turfing companies or turf companies within the Houston area who's also running ads. So these are your competitors. And the final and best thing about this tool is that it allows us to see our opponent's ad history, right? So these are some of the ads our opponent has run over the course of time. If you decide to run a successful ad campaign, what you can do is you can take some of the things that they've done well and add them to your ad campaign, and you can also learn from their mistakes. So you can take some of the things that they've done wrong and learn from them. I'm going to show you right now how to identify a successful Google ad campaign. If you were to like wanted to do this for your company, and in order to identify a successful Google ad campaign, or in order to set up a successful Google ad campaign, you must have three things go well in your favor, because Google has a quality score, and this quality score is broken down into three metrics. The first metric I want to talk to you about is called ad relevance. And what ad relevance typically means is, does whatever someone's searching here, which is called the Google search engine. So what's ever in this Google search engine, which is artificial turf installation right now, does it match what's in your ad headline? This is called an ad headline. If these two things doesn't match, then chances are your ad won't show up most of the time, because Google deducts points from these two things not matching. And when Google deducts points from your ad might show up at the bottom of page 1, or it might show up on page 2. And if it shows up on page 2, your ad will not be seen by people. And if your ad's not being seen by people, no one's going to click on it. And if no one clicks on your ad, you're not going to be gaining any amount of revenue, right? So you want to make sure that these two things are matching. It's sort of a matching game. The second thing that Google tends to grade its ad campaigns by is something called click-through rate. And what click-through rate typically means is, how often is someone clicking on your ad versus your competition? And in order to have a good click-through rate, you must have something called silent extensions. And you want to use these silent extensions to describe as much information about your company as possible. So you want to describe the type of services that you provide. So if you do putting greens, if you do turf installs for pets, if you do synthetic grass installs, if you do sod installations, or whatever the case may be, you want to use silent extensions to describe as much information as possible about your company. You also want to use silent extensions to describe your locations of work. So if you're doing work in the Katy area, the Sugar Land area, the Pasadena area, the Pearland area, and so on, you want to use silent extensions to describe your service of work. You also want to use silent extensions to describe the phone numbers you have at your disposal. So if you have multiple phone numbers or multiple offices within the greater Houston area, you want to use silent extensions to tell customers where they can reach you. You basically want to use silent extensions to describe as much information about your company as possible and give customers information about the day-to-day operations of your company. The last and final most effective thing that tends to really make or break your ad campaign is something called your landing page. This right here is an example of a landing page that we typically use for clients. It's not the actual landing page, but it's something close to it. And the reason why we use this landing page with our ads is because, number one, it's high quality, and number two, we've generated a decent amount of revenue from just running this landing page. And the reason we've been able to generate a decent amount of revenue is because we have certain things on this landing page that works really well in our favor. The first thing that works really well in our favor that I want to talk about is something called calls of action. What I mean by calls of action is, you see this phone number right here. So there's a phone number right here. There's a estimate or free quote form right here that customers can fill out and inquire about our service. There's another phone number right here and another get quote form right here. So altogether, that's about 4 calls of action. And what calls of action typically means is, we've given the customers 4 different ways where they can contact or they can reach us. And by doing this, chances are customers are going to contact us. They're going to inquire about our service, and we're going to be generating revenue. Not only are we going to be generating revenue, Google's also going to be generating revenue because we're running this ad campaign on their platform. So remember, Google likes for landing pages to have multiple calls of action, because the more calls of actions you have, the more chances you've given the customers ways on how they can contact you. Another thing that Google likes for landing pages to have is something called organic keywords or organic key phrases. And these right here, these particular words such as turf, sod, and lawn care specialist, these are all forms of organic key phrases or keywords. Organic key phrases or keywords are just words that potential customers tend to use in Google when they're trying to find a particular service. So in Google, your potential customers may use these particular keywords such as turf, They may use sod installation. They might use lawn care specialists and so on. So you want to have as many potential key phrases or keywords on your landing pages that you think customers will search into Google in order to find turfing companies. Because if you have multiple like calls of actions and multiple key phrases on your landing page, chances are your landing page is going to show up most of the time. And when your landing page shows up most of the time, you're going to be bringing in revenue, right? The last and most effective thing your landing page must have is something called mobile responsiveness. And what mobile responsiveness typically means is how often does your landing page work on mobile devices? Does it work on iPhones, Androids, iPads, Kindles, and so on? If your landing page doesn't work on mobile devices, then Google will deduct points from your landing page and will deduct points from your ads. So you want to make sure that your landing page is also loading up pretty fast on these mobile devices. You want to make sure that your landing page is loading up pretty fast on iPhones, Androids, iPads, Kindles, and so on, because no one's going to sit there and wait all day for your landing page to open once they click on your ad. If someone is just sitting there and waiting for your landing page to open, typically they're just going to go to the next ad, which is your competition, and they're going to be filling out the forms on your competition's landing page, and they're going to be filling out the phone numbers on your competition's landing page. So now that I told you or showed you how a successful ad campaign typically works, feel free to contact me at 832-388-7490. Once again, my name is Byron. I showed you how important ad relevance is. I showed you how important click-through rate is, and I showed you how important a landing page is and how a landing page must have multiple calls of action, organic key phrases or keywords, and how it should be mobile responsive. If this is something that you're interested in, like I said, feel free to call me at 832-388-7490. I'll be happy to sit down and talk to you about this entire process, and maybe I can set this up for you. Once again, have a blessed day, Luis.